I will now call the East Lyme Zoning Commission regular meeting of February 4th, 2021 to order. It is 7:31 p.m. This meeting is being held via video conference via Zoom. Mr. Walker is not here, so I will be filling in as chairman today. I see we have Mr. Dwyer, we have Kim Kay, Mr. Peck. I do not see Ann Thurlow.
Nope.
No Mr. Liska. We see Denise, and we have George. We also have Mr. Mulholland, Jennifer Lindo, our savior, Brooke, and Roseanne Hardy. Also in attendance is Mr. Bill Shear of the East Lyme Public Works Department. I will read the guidelines of the Zoom meeting. Please remember that while unmuted, we can hear you and everything going on around you. We can also see you. Board members and staff will be unmuted during the entire meeting. As required by executive order, everyone must state their name and where they are from prior to speaking, such as John Smith, board member, or Harry White, 123 Main Street, each time they speak. During public delegations, Jen will open lines for comment. Please wait to be called upon to speak. Once you have finished speaking, please mute your microphone or your phone. During each agenda item, only the board, staff, and presenters will be unmuted to speak on that particular item. Only one person may speak at a time. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand and wait to be called upon. Board members will be called upon to provide comment via a roll call. Ms. Ann Thurlow has now joined us. Thank you, Ann. Only hosts are permitted to share screens at this time. Any documents to be shared must come through Jennifer at jlindo@eltownhall.com. As required by executive order, all documents being discussed and reviewed at the meeting must be posted on the town website no later than 24 hours prior to the meeting. This entire meeting is automatically recorded by Zoom, and upon the host logging out, the meeting will cease, and so will the recording. The meeting cannot continue without a host. That being said, moving on, we're going to move on to public delegations. Public delegations is a time when members of the public are invited to speak to the commission on subject matters that are not on the agenda. Do we have anyone wishing to do so? Jennifer will now open the lines for public comment.
The only member of the public I have is Kate Hewitt. Kate, did you wish to speak under public delegations?
Hi, I'm from Connecticut Examiner, so I'm just listening to the meeting today.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Moving on, public hearings. Number one.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, did we set
Yes.
an alternate in place of Matt?
Oh, thank you, sir. Yes, we can. Who is
Thank you.
up? Denise, so Mr. McPherson, would you please like to join us? Unmute your mic, please. Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, George, you're a regular member now. All right, public hearing, continuation of application of Theodore A. Harris, Esquire, agent for 159 Boston Post Road, LLC, owner, for a special permit for a mixed-use CA pursuant to Section 822 and Section 25 at property located at 159 Boston Post Road, East Lyme, Assessors Map 31-1, Lot 32. Per the applicant, he has requested a continuance till February 18th, 2021.
Mr. Chairman, if I may briefly,
You may.
so for everybody's edification, we ran into some technical issues on the drainage on this particular project. It's being corrected, so they were really not ready to go. And the feeling was from the regulatory side, and I think the applicant, they didn't want to step forward unless they were ready to go, and that the staff could say we were satisfied with the site plan. So that's where we find ourselves. So they will be ready to go in 2 weeks on the 18th when we reconvene. So with that said, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mulholland. Moving on to the regular meeting. Item number 1 is the application of Theodore A. Harris, Esquire, agent for 159 Boston Post Road, LLC, the owner, for a special permit for a mixed use in the CA pursuant to Section 822 and Section 25 at property located at 159 Boston Post Road, East Lyme, Assessor's Map 31-1, Lot 32. As you just heard, this is going to be continued till February 18th. Item number 2 on our agenda is request of the Town of East Lyme, Bill Shear, Director of Public Works, agent for a coastal area management review for property located at the end of Laurel Street for erosion mitigation and stabilization of an embankment. Mr. Shear is in attendance and will give us a presentation.
Well, thank you very much. I didn't really anticipate being up this quick. I'm glad Jen texted me to tell me to log in.
Screen share is on, Bill, so you can go ahead and share your screen.
Okay, this should not take long. Give me 1 second.
Here we go.
All right, can you guys all see that?
Yes.
Yep, yes.
Yes.
All right. Basically, when we redid Pine Grove, we redid all the sewers, and at the same time, we redid all the roads. And at the end of Laurel Street and South Pine Street, we installed a new pump station, a sewer pump station. As we were doing all of this, we inadvertently concentrated some stormwater into this area right here, shown as the project site. Let me see if I can. Basically, what happened is previously, before the construction, all the stormwater would sheet flow down a hill over grass and into the water with no erosion. Subsequently, with our construction, it created a point discharge right here at the end of Temple Street where the pavement ends. So I know it's difficult to see right here, but it created a channel, an erosion channel, a swale. It's still difficult to see. And so basically what has happened is the people out there and the Ladies Aid Society have asked us to come along and rectify this problem. So we looked at it and realized we created it. So our plan is to install, actually you can see the cross section here, some concrete mafia blocks at the bottom of the swale, and then put large riprap over the top of the mafia blocks so you don't see them, and fill the swale in with riprap to mitigate all the erosion. We plan to do that in the spring with your approval, and there's really not much to this, but a small project to mitigate erosion that we inadvertently created. More than happy to answer any questions anybody has.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Bill, during construction, you're going to install silt fence and hay bales to prevent any erosion during the construction process, which would be downhill from the proposed activity. Is that correct?
Yes, we'll put silt fence at the bottom of this to catch any of the silt that washes out of the project. Actually, you can see it right here on the plan. So right down at the bottom of this, that's the only place we'd be able to install erosion control measures.
And what's the dimension of the area that's being affected with the construction activity? Can you give a rough guesstimate of the area affected? Is it 20 by 20?
From memory, it's probably about 20 feet long by 6 feet wide.
So not a significant disturbance.
No, if anything else, it's an improvement. There's no real downside to what we're doing.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioner, I'd like to add that this was a judgment call as to whether to require the CAM report or not. Some of these minor activities are exempted. In this particular case, I felt it was important that the town lead by example, that we step up when we at least go through the process to ensure that we're very transparent in the activities that we do. Staff's looked at this, I've looked at this, and we think it's a minor type project, but nonetheless we wanted to ensure again that it did appear before the Zoning Commission. I have nothing further to add at this point. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Can you hear me?
No.
Barely.
Yes or no? No?
I can, but not well.
Interesting. Interesting. I'm gonna
Move
switch
closer
over.
to the mic.
Why? Does it work?
Yes.
Just a little.
Get it really? No kidding. All right, thank you. Does anybody have any comments?
No.
I got
Anyone
nothing.
else? George, what are you smiling at?
I just have a quick question.
Miss Thurlow, go ahead.
Oh, I was just wondering how long the total project will last.
Probably realistically 3 days.
Thanks.
Okay. Anyone else? Gonna yell there? Mr. Mahala, shall I read your memo here, or is this the,
You
decision.
can if you choose to, or you can move forward and if everybody's satisfied, you can take a motion. On my memo on the bottom, you will see that there are some conditions,
correct?
essentially reasons which we find that the reasons are very similar in every CAM application, and those on the memo are the same as we've used previously.
I think what I will do, I will read this for everybody, and I will read the motions, and then somebody can come up with a motion to approve or deny as per read. So this is dated February 4th, 2021, to the East Lyme Zoning Commission from William Mulholland regarding the coastal site plan application Laurel Street. Coastal site plan reviews are mandated under the Coastal Management Act as found in Chapter 444 of the Connecticut General Statutes. The regulatory program is designed to protect the state's coastal resources from unsuitable development on lands within the coastal boundary. Local shoreline communities must review specific types of development for compliance with the Act. In this application, the town of East Lyme, through its agent, Bill Shear, Deputy Director of Public Works, proposes to stabilize/armor an embankment that has eroded as a result of a town road/driveway construction. There will be no grading or demolition at the site. Mr. Shear is present, gave us a presentation overview of the project. Now the motions are as follows. I will read them and then somebody can jump in. Move to approve the application of the town of East Lyme, Bill Shear, agent, for a coastal area management review for erosion mitigation and stabilization of an embankment at the end of Laurel Street, Niantic, Connecticut, with following reasons. 1, application is consistent with all applicable goals of condition of the CAM Act. And 2, applicant has taken all reasonable measures to mitigate any adverse impacts of the proposed activity on both coastal resources and future water-dependent uses. The other motion is to move to deny the application of the town of East Lyme, Bill Shear, agent, for a coastal area management review for erosion mitigation and stabilization of an embankment at the end of Laurel Street, Niantic, Connecticut. Do we have a motion?
I have a question,
Mr. Peck.
Mr. Shear. It's not clear to me how the town caused this problem, but I guess the question is this problem going to be relocated somewhere else because this piece is patched up, or is there no chance that this is going to happen again? Has the cause been repaired?
Basically, we took sheet flow and concentrated it into a point source, and so now it runs and it created this ditch. Basically what we're doing is we're armoring the ditch going down the slope, so the water will stay in the same place, but after the embankment is armored, it will not be able to erode anymore, so it will have a stable channel that will prevent future erosion, and all the water will stay in the same place.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do I have a motion?
I will move to approve this application of the town of East Lyme for coastal area management review for erosion mitigation and stabilization of an embankment at the end of Laurel Street, Niantic.
Do we have a second? Mr.
Second.
Dwyer, hand is up.
Second.
All those in favor, I will do a roll call. Da-da-da. I am an aye. Mr. Donovan. Mr. Dwyer.
Yeah. Yes.
Yay. Kim K.
Aye.
Mr. Peck.
Aye.
Ann.
Aye.
Hello. Mr.
Aye.
McPherson.
Aye.
I believe that is anybody against the motion? Anybody abstain from the motion? Motion carries 6-0-0.
Mr. Chairman, and for the reasons so noted in the memo, thank you.
So noted. Thank you, Mr. Mulholland. Moving on is the approval of minutes of January 21st, 2021. Ms. Stevens, I did notice that you forgot to delete a sentence from last meetings. It's on page 3. It is stated that Mr. Donovan said he would be more comfortable discussing this item when Mr. Walker is also in attendance. I think that was left in there involuntarily. So that needs to be removed. Do I have a motion for the amended minutes of January 21st, 2021? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Brooke.
There was I inadvertently also left out the motion that approved the budget for the year. You made the motion and Mr. Dwyer seconded it. So I'll have to put that correction in the minutes as well.
Thank you for that note, Ms. Stevens.
Thank you.
Mr. Dwyer, did you have your hand up before? Is that a motion to approve? Yes. Do I have a second to approve the minutes? Mr. McPherson?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor? I will be an aye. Mr. Peck?
I have to abstain. I was absent.
Abstention. Kim K?
Aye.
Ms. Thurlow?
Aye.
Mr. McPherson?
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4. Who did I miss? Mr. Dwyer? Aye. Anyone against? Mr. Peck abstained. Motion carries 5-0-1. Thank you. Moving on to old business, we have none. New business. Mr. Mulholland, anything?
Nothing now at this point, Mr. Chairman. As I scan my easel, it's quiet right now. There are some things in the works that'll be coming forward to the commission in the near future. I'm waiting for. I'm in discussion with 3 or 4 different types of businesses and developments. I'm waiting for things as site plan, statement of use. I need to analyze several of these things. I need the staff to look at one of the site plans so that we can get it up to speed before they apply to the zoning board. Another application that we're talking about whether the use is going to fit in to the property based on the zoning regs and a previous user. That's in discussion. I mean, I'm talking to an attorney up in Hartford. I'm waiting for the statement of use. So there's a lot of activity going on. The Gateway 120 units are nearing completion. I would anticipate probably about 8 weeks. I think they'll be close to being finished.
So does that mean that that billboard comes down?
I spoke to Mr. Harris this morning and essentially said it comes down and he will be making sure that they are compliant.
So after 3 years, all right, sweet. I love it. Nice.
That's pretty much it. There's a lot going on. Rocky Neck affordable housing is under construction. I anticipate the paths coming in probably in a few months. There's still a lot of interest in real estate and development. So, and on a daily basis, we're still seeing a lot of smaller activity, single-family homes, additions, a lot of generators and miscellaneous things like that, electrical panels, plumbing, bathroom remodels, kitchen remodels, a lot of that type of activity.
Understood. Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mulholland.
You're
I got
welcome.
ahead of, oh, Mr. McPherson.
Just have a quick question for Mr. Mahan. Do you know if Burger King will be putting the flagpole back? A new one, obviously.
I do not have an answer for that. I
It'd
will
be
look
nice.
at-
It was a nice thing to have
It
there.
was a nice amenity. I will ask. I don't think so, but I don't know the answer to that. Let me see if I can find out.
Thanks.
Thanks, George. I did get ahead of myself. I apologize. I'm going to go back to, if there any business on the floor, if any by the majority of the voting commission.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Peck.
I just simply wanted to thank all of you for the card regarding my mother's passing, and that was very much appreciated.
Mr. Peck, you're welcome. Moving on, comments from the ex officio. Roseanne, are you still with us? Yes.
Mr. Dwyer has his
I
hand
am.
up.
Yeah, Dwyer's got his hand up.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dwyer?
He's muted.
Unmute. You're muted. He's trying to unmute himself, I believe. Yep. He said never, okay. Roseanne?
Yes, I'm with you.
You are, you're up.
Can you hear me?
We
Yes,
can.
we can.
Yep.
Okay. The Board of Selectmen met last night, and we approved $25,000, which is our share of the funding, to go to a corridor study on Route 161 to come in with recommendations as to how we might improve traffic conditions on the road and consider making improvements to sidewalks, adding sidewalks, and possibly bike paths. We had received notification of an earlier grant, which had not come to fruition, and now that money is soon to be released. So our share of the grant would be $25,000, and then the funding agency will pick up the remainder of the cost, which is roughly more than 3/4 of the cost. So that's kind of a windfall. And we will not be releasing the $25,000 until we are assured that the rest of the grant money is approved and forthcoming. This will be administered by the Southeastern Connecticut Council of Governments, which arranged for the grant and wrote the grant. And this study group, we're hoping, once it's convened, would do their work within a couple of months. But that's still to be determined. So that's something that was mentioned several times in the recent POCD plan, where a lot of people were interested in more accessible areas to town, particularly the area around Gordon Lake, which has always been a problem as to how we might be able to improve that curve and improve or get sidewalks along that stretch. So even though it's going to be administered by the Southeastern Connecticut Association of Governments, certainly the town will have input, and Mr. Nickerson, of course, is a member of that, so we will be represented. I think that's something very positive to look forward to, because that is an area that we've had concern about for many years and has been the scene of some very bad accidents.
Mm.
So more to come on that. Unfortunately, next year's budgets were presented last night in terms of about a 200-page booklet, and we'll start our budget hearings on Monday night. The schedule for the hearings should be posted today online, and certainly Mr. Mulholland will be notified well in advance when zoning will be up for review. Unfortunately, it would all be by everybody's favorite format, Zoom. Uh, so our hearings will all be remote by Zoom. And of course, this isn't the great time for budget increases. However, the state has passed several mandates, particularly in the area of the recent Police Accountability Act. There will hopefully be some funding released and coming our way, but a lot of that burden is going to fall on the town itself, as well as several other proposals that have been presented that if they pass and we are required to follow those, it's definitely the funding will have to come for the town. The state seldom pays for everything. On another note, one of my other ex officios, as you know, is the Commission on Aging. And certainly in this age of pandemic, our aging population has been heavily impacted. So the Commission on a daily basis is delivering between 25 to 35 households daily. It's to East Lyme's credit and its residents that all of the deliveries are done by volunteers using their own vehicles. There's a cadre of about 10 volunteers right now, and 2 or 3 volunteers rotate every day to deliver the meals. And that's something that a lot of our elderly just would not be able to remain in their homes without this assistance. They're undertaking a very ambitious program for the spring, but again, a lot of the programs will be determined by what we can do under the COVID restrictions. So most of them will be remote, but they do have some, as I said, ambitious programs, which the elderly will be able to, those who have the appropriate technology will be able to do at home, programs such as Tai Chi, some limited exercise programs, and maybe some of you missed a chance to learn how to play guitar. So there's going to be an opportunity for that too. Lillian's Restaurant, I'd like to give a shout out to them during the holiday period. They provided 500 meals free of charge to the elderly.
Nice.
And got volunteers for those people who could not go for the pickup, the curbside service. There were volunteers who offered to deliver those meals to the homebound. And again, another great reason to live in East Lyme for people and businesses that reach out all the time when there's a need. And certainly we know the restaurant business has been heavily hit. And I think for a local independent restaurant to provide that kind of service is just remarkable. I actually had a bite of the turkey and it was pretty good. Probably better than what I cooked. So we've also asked, for going back to the budget, that do what we have to do to keep the town running, and we're going to try to, of course, limit any new expenses, and unless it's mandated, probably very few new programs. And I will say again that all of our department heads work very hard on behalf of the residents of the town to try to provide good service and not incur unnecessary expenses. So I think that is, I think that's my summary for tonight. Be happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Ms. Hardy?
How's the new police station coming?
Right now, we're doing pretty well. We have not had an updated tour, again, of course, because groups can't go together, but we have a couple of members that are going in frequently. There have been a couple of changes. Some of the drywall in the building will need to be replaced after there was some movement around that we didn't realize would have to be done. That will be able to be done under budget. And we still have funds left in the contingency fund which haven't been tapped into.
Any other questions for Mrs. Hardy? No. Roseanne, thank you very much.
Yep.
Moving on, comments from the zoning board liaison to planning. Mr. Dwyer gave us his report at the last meeting. Next up is myself for February 9th, followed by Kim K for March 9th. Comments from the chairman, myself. Thanks for the fill-in. Other than that, I just wish everyone stay happy and healthy, and we'll take a motion to adjourn.
Before we do, Terry, Kim
yeah.
didn't say anything, but I
No.
missed the tie.
I was going to say something, but I didn't. Yeah.
Kim, I was waiting
All
for you.
Yeah.
Zoom.
I think it was short notice. That's why Terry didn't have a chance to put the time.
Exactly. Yeah.
I actually did know, but it's just been a tough day, so I just, very tired. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
You look great, brother.
Next time. I'll tell you
I
if
don't
it
see
was.
a tie.
Yeah. What's that?
I don't see a tie.
No,
What?
next time there'll be a tie, George. Next time. I don't have one now. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Kim K, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. McPherson, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Kim K,
Aye.
Norm, Ann, George, myself, aye. Mr. Dwyer? Aye. Thank you all. Have a good night.